Hi everyone, how are you? This is Carmina. Welcome back to my channel, Your Stars Aligned. I'm an astrologer using Vedic principles and a card reader using the cards of truth, right? Okay, so today on this lovely sunny winter day, and because I'm really pumped up after reading that I've done with the cards of truth, I wanted to show everyone how accurate the cards can be, right? Because this cards of truth system, if you're familiar with it, overlays astrologic principles on an ancient card system, which is also called Egyptian tarot, cards of destiny, cards of life. Yeah, so I'm gonna show you how you can really see things, practical things with that card system. I'm gonna show you the example of a child conception reflected in the cards, right? Yeah, for those of you who know me more or less personally, you know that I was married and I have a daughter, right? And yeah, I know the exact time when she was conceived, so for the sake of science, I'm gonna share that information with you guys. As I stated in other videos, I have no problem with sharing my own chart because I don't know what can happen. I'm open to anyone speculating or whatever, right? I also have like the utmost respect and I have no problems with people who don't want to share their chart, but yeah, I've shared my chart before on this channel and I have no problem doing so whatsoever, okay? Okay, so let's get to the card reading. Okay, so first of all, you don't have to do this, but I'm just doing it for a more snapshot technique, right? So, you know that in Vedic system there are dashas, right? And each dasha can bring about something in your life, depending on what the natural karaka for that dasha is, right? So, or the temporary karaka for that dasha. And in 2011 September, I started my Saturn dasha. Saturn, what is Saturn? Saturn is something more constricting that gives you more focus, right? That like makes you face your own limitations. Something that's not necessarily fun, but it's something necessary for your growth, right? You have to like destroy those things that are not serving you so that you can move on with your life, right? It's like, you know. So, as I was saying, what is Saturn in my chart? In my chart, Saturn is my Dara Karaka in my spouse planet, and it so happens that in my Saturn Dasha, I got married and divorced. And what else is Saturn? Jaimini says that it's one of the Karakas for children, right? We know usually that Jupiter is the main Karaka for children because Jupiter is joy and children are joy, right? But at the same time, children are a responsibility and kind of a burden. So that's where Saturn comes in as being the Karaka for children. So with that in mind, you know, Saturn also brought me a child. Actually, the day I took her home from the hospital, I also had my Saturn return. So it was like a very Saturnian experience. So yeah, we can even like snapshot it like largely and see it was kind of a right time for me. And now let's get to the gist of this video, which is the cards. Okay, so what you see here is, this is my birth spread, right? So this is like a birth chart. It's like the imprint that you have together with you, that you are on the path on for all your life. And then this is the 7-year progression. This is like a snapshot. It's kind of a dasha thing where you can see like the main events of last year, of every year, like the main focus. And this is like even more detailed. It's the age 28 when I became pregnant, right? This is the week and this is the day. I have to mention, for those of you who don't know, that in the cards we consider a day from the moment that the sun rises on the point you are in the world, right? So a day doesn't start at 12 a.m. It starts when the sun rises. That's why you see like the day of the 13th of January has, times after 12 a.m. So that was just an explanation. Okay, so first let's look at let's look at the 7-year progression. Do we see any indications for children? But first of all, how do you see children? Well, you see them as aces or jacks, right? Especially ace of hearts, jack of hearts. You can also see motherhood with queens, right? Because the queen is the mother, the caretaker, especially the queen of hearts, which is essentially the mother card. Let's see if in my, uh, you know, 7-year progress card, I have that. Yeah, as you can see, I have an ace of hearts at 32, which is connected to my ascendant on the 7-year progress spread. And yeah, it's connected to the Jupiter card, right? So the Jupiter is the Karaka of children. So you can already see a hint here. But at the same time, it's also connected to the fourth cusp. The fourth cusp relates to Cancer, mother, homey things, and things like that. But you don't see the right age where that happened. And for that, we have also to look at the years, right? You can also see my natal moon card, right? And as I was telling you, moon relates to motherhood. You can see it here on the Rahu card, and you can also see that the card the moon is in my natal chart, the 3 of clubs, is here on my Ketu, right? So you can see how this me being a mother is a very fated and important thing for my self-development. Okay, so at age 28, well, we see again this happening, this 5 of hearts in the Venus card with the 7 and 12th cusp, right? So the 7th cusp of partnership, Venus card, which relates to relationships, 5 of hearts, which is like emotional crisis. We have Jupiter, which is a natural karaka for the husband, and Saturn, which is my spouse planet, and this is like around the time that I got married. Yeah, what else do we see? Okay, but when I became pregnant, it was like during this interval, right? It was on the 13th of January 2012, right? Okay, so you can also see that I was on the path of making long-term changes because the King of Spades is, making like really changes that affect you for a very long period of time, and conceiving a child, that is definitely a long-term change. We can also see an ace here, right? It's not an ace of hearts, it's an ace of clubs. This is also a semi-fixed card, so it also shows that I connected more deeply to the world in this regard, right? Related to motherhood because the moon is here. And you can also see that I have all 4 kings, right? So yeah, the King of Spades is kind of like, it's like a Pluto card. It's like the purifier, right? So it purifies you from all your excess and just like makes you go forward, not always in an easy, pleasant way, right? But really a lot of emotional sacrifices that go with parenting, not just emotional, the King of Hearts, like financial, intellectual sacrifices, a change of ideas. So it was a very, I don't know, kingy, parenty year. And then we look at the week where when I became pregnant, we can see that, okay, again, that Five of Hearts, which is like the emotional crisis card, which is my moon card. And we can see all the four kings again repeated. This week spread is very similar to the year spread, right? You see it begins here and this one begins here. So the second card here is the first card here. So yeah, you can see how that happened. And then looking at the day when I became pregnant, the ecliptic card of that day, so the path of that day was an ace of spades, right? So again, an ace, although, you know, the ace of spades is more like finding the inner truth about yourself, it's still an ace and it relates to something new. And the exact time frame when I became pregnant is here, from like midnight, around midnight to 2 a.m., something like that. So yeah, you can see here the two of hearts. This is like the couple card is like coming together with somebody, you know, with somebody that you love or with an idea that you love. But in my case, you also see like this seventh cusp here, which is the partnership. So it was my partner. You can see here the Dara Karaka, which is my spouse planet. You can see Jupiter, the natural significator for a husband and for children. And this, you know, this card relates to this one because actually this card represents, you know, Capricorn and Aquarius, right? The signs of Saturn. And this one represents in what signs these planets were in, right? So Jupiter and Saturn were conjunct in Libra, right? Then. And this card, you know, this is actually the birth card of my ex-husband. So you can see how amazingly and magically it all ties in together, right? Um, it's actually interesting how this all happened. I mean, it was not, you know, yeah, so you can see me being together as a couple in love, seventh cusp with my spouse, Darakaraka, and my then husband, you know, Queen of Clubs. So yeah, there you have it. And what I wanted to show you as well, if we look at age 29, this is my ecliptic card, right? So you can see that I had already given birth. I gave birth in this interval here. And yeah, you can see I'm on the path of this new baby, which is the Ace of Hearts. And actually for the next 3 years, I'm on the path of this new baby, right? Because for the first 3 years of life, I was just, you know, that was my main focus, right? I actually breastfed until she was almost 3 years old. And, you know, I gave up my office job to start working from home so that I can be with her more. So yeah, you can see how the cards are magical, right? Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed that quick example, and I hope I made you more interested in how the cards of truth work, right? So yeah, I think compared to other techniques, other, I don't know, systems, even to astrology, the cards of truth is, I don't know, it's easier and quicker to learn, and it's also cheaper to learn, right? So it would be like a very small investment, it would be a smaller amount of time. So if you want to learn this system, go ahead, you can start learning it. You know, the whole screen with all the cards can look a bit disheartening in the beginning, but then you will figure it all out, right? So yeah, you can start learning it for yourself. If you're curious and really are burning to get a reading right now, you can book a reading with me from my website, yourstarsaligned.com. I'm gonna link it here. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week with more videos, and I don't know, we'll see what happens. Bye!